Political analyst Brian Sobel.
Brian, let's start with this being the absolute worst nightmare in terms of what could go wrong, not only for President Biden, but the country and also the families of those 13 service members. So what does the president do next here?
The president has to take the decision to either put more force in, which I don't think he's going to do, Frank, or stay to the deadline and try to get the additional people out. But, you know, today's a dark day for America, and it kind of speaks to the old adage, no good deed goes unpunished. We think we're on a humanitarian mission here, and we are. But for the Taliban and these other terrorist groups, they're still at war.
It is a terrible day, Brian. President Biden addressed the nation late this afternoon. He was subdued but firm, saying, quote, "We will not forgive, we will not forget, we will hunt you down and make you pay." Brian, how do you do that when you leave? U.S. forces are supposed to be out of there by next Tuesday.
Julie, it's going to be a tough thing to do. These types of attacks and the attackers, setting aside the person who dies in the suicide bombing, but those who order it, they vanish into the ether. And it's hard to find them. And now that we're getting out of Afghanistan in a landlocked country, it's going to be very hard to find those who ordered the attack. That's just being blunt about it.
Brian, there are no easy answers here, but if you are a family in America with someone who is trying to get out of Afghanistan, what are you thinking tonight? What are the chances that they'll get to America at some point in the future?
I think for some of them, we can surreptitiously get them out of the country. I think for others, sadly, Frank, I think there are going to be people left behind.
Really?
And that's going to be the sad last chapter of our time in Afghanistan, I believe.
People around the world are watching this, Brian. President Biden insisted today that the mission will continue. He said U.S. troops will continue to airlift Americans and Afghan partners out of Afghanistan. Even though officials are warning now more attacks are likely, what can the U.S. military do to prevent further loss of life and to keep people safe?
It's a tough call, Julie. These troops are sitting ducks. They really are. They're in the middle of a surrounded airport, and we're already getting reports of rifle fire and other things coming into the Kabul airport. And it's just going to be a very rough next few days. Bear in mind that these terrorists want to give us one bloody nose after another as we exit Afghanistan. So pray for our troops. It's going to be a very tough next few days.
Yeah, Brian, that begs the question, why would they even attack us today, given the fact that we're already leaving? I mean, hasn't that been one of their key things that they've been trying to establish this whole time, and that is to get us out of that area? And now that we are finally leaving, they attack us?
There are a whole lot of people there, Frank, who still want to demonstrate that the great Satan, the United States, can be hit and can lose lives. And that is going to be an ongoing thing that we're going to deal with, as we have dealt with it for the last 20 years. And, you know, I've talked with a lot of veterans and other people who have mixed feelings about everything that's going on in Afghanistan. But the one feeling all people have together is sadness over this loss of life. It's just a terrible day for our United States Armed Forces.
Brian, quickly before we let you go, we are running out of time. Administration officials continue to tout the huge success in evacuating Americans out of Afghanistan, saying that so far they've airlifted nearly 90,000 people since the end of July. Should the U.S. be concerned, Brian, that along with those who are being evacuated and returning to the United States, that terrorists are also sneaking into our country?
Well, we're staging that, so I think we're going to be able to properly vet who comes into the country, Julie, but I wouldn't want to close tonight before I think all of us pay a debt of gratitude to the military on the ground there who have performed superbly, taking the commander-in-chief's orders and carrying them out to the best of their ability. And that is what we can take away from this tonight.
All right, we will leave it there. Brian Sobel, like always, thanks for being with us tonight. We appreciate your insight.
You're very welcome.
California